And we are.
Hey, guys.
Hey, folks.
Oh, welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. Currently with...
My phone does that every week when it kicks off.
Welcome to another night of Friday Night Tech Talk. This time with Mobile Geezer and Ted with TED Talks. And not promising anything, but maybe there might be a new challenger or entrant in here later this evening. But no promises.
Yeah, if he's willing. Oh.
Could also be Mike.
Yeah, we can only wish.
Now, credit to credit due. I believe the first person here was Nigel. Thank you, Nigel.
Nigel was in here yesterday afternoon. That's how early he was. Okay. Max is in here, and Eleanor just joined. Hey, Eleanor. Oh, Eleanor, you see the shirt I'm wearing? Okay.
What's under the shirt, George? What's under the words?
It just says Mobile Geezer, that's all.
I meant the logo. It's a phone. What phone is that? Is that an iPhone?
No, she had it made for me for my birthday in 2019, and I guess the phone was appropriate, which it kind of is.
About me, like, what phone? That looks like an iPhone.
Nah, I don't think
iPhone 8.
Well, maybe the people that made it was one of those custom made places. Maybe they have iPhones, so they make everything look like iPhone. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, so, and let's see. For those who haven't seen this yet, I'm doing the whole sponsor thing here. Okay, can't hear me now, can you?
You're sponsoring this channel, Mobile Geezer? Yes, I will welcome that sponsor.
I'm sponsoring.
UN Enterprise.
Yeah, a long day today. But I'm glad to be back in driving.
Speaking of driving, I'm actually going with my cousin tomorrow to go pick up a car for him.
Okay, cool. A new car or a used car?
It's most likely going to be a used car.
Okay.
I'm not sure what he's going to pick, Could be anything with him. And I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Let me just sip my tea on that.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gents,
I'm drinking 7-Up, which of course is green. So, of course, with my green screen behind me, you can see right through the bottle.
Why is it green?
Because
the bottle is green.
The bottle is green.
The bottle is green. Yeah, of course. I was like, they have a 7-Up Mountain Dew now?
No. All right. I'm assuming you're going to read the first story.
Which one is this about? The cost of replacing? Yes, I'll do it.
All right. I'm sharing the screen right now, so you can put it up whenever you are ready. And there we go.
But first,
yeah.
Actually, no. I'll get to it later. I was going to ask you if you got your Surface Duo.
It didn't come yet. I'm not even getting any shipping information, and I can't get through to anybody there. But it says I ordered it directly from Microsoft.
Damn. What's his? Yeah, we'll talk about. Well, no, we can discuss it now. What's his name? Juan Bagnell. He got his in a poorly packaged box. Like it came in a big box. And they didn't put any air bubbles in it, so it was just rattling around.
Okay, well, just before we went on, I saw on Jay Will's channel he must have got his today too. So,
did he get his from Best Buy?
No, he ordered it. I think he ordered it. No, he ordered it from Microsoft, just like I did. So I guess mine will show up when it shows up.
Yeah.
It was Flossie Carter did a review of it, and I was watching it while we were riding around today because I wasn't driving. And he was trying to do the swipe up from the bottom, and he was getting all pissed off because it wouldn't work. And then he found out that you had to swipe from the bottom on the screen. He was swiping from the bottom of the device, and he said, "Okay."
Oh, he was swiping from the bezel.
Okay, the user is dumb. We know. Okay, that was funny.
He was swiping on the bezel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we have here. We have a story by Scott Bidcheno. The cost of replacing Huawei and ZTE in our U.S. networks will be nearly $2 billion. The U.S. communications regulator has released the results of a supply chain data request, which lists all U.S. CSPs that have any Chinese carriers. What's CSPs?
I have no idea.
Communication service providers?
Communications something, yeah, that's as good as anything to me.
In addition, the FCC has revealed the aggregate cost of ripping and replacing that kit with stuff originating from a country is not currently at Cold War with.
Yeah.
All filers report it could cost an estimated $1.837 billion to remove and replace Huawei and ZTE equipment in their network, says the public announcement, which also listed said filers copy below. It is a top priority of our nation and this commission to promote the security of our country's communication networks, said FCC Chairman Ajit Pai. That's why we sought a comprehensive information from U.S. carriers about equipment and services from untrusted vendors that have already been installed in our networks. Just a moment.
Okay.
Today's announcement marks a critical, a critical milestone in our ongoing commitment to secure our networks by identifying the presence of insecure equipment and services in our networks. We can now work to ensure that these networks, especially those of rural and small carriers, rely on infrastructure from trusted vendors. I once again strongly urge Congress to appropriate funding to reimburse carriers for replacing any equipment or services determined to be a national security threat so that we can protect our networks and myriad parts of our economy and society that rely upon them. That's good news for operators being slapped up with an unexpected CAPEX bill. Through no fault of their own, but the list is not all that it seems. Verizon, for example, told Light Reading that it doesn't have any of the offending kit in its networks, and it won't be asking for any compensation. The tone of Verizon's comments implies not everyone on this list is happy with being named, but that's transparency for you.
So there's the whole list.
And that's the whole list.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of makes you wonder, since Verizon doesn't have any of that equipment, why did they even put them on the list? You know, it doesn't make sense, really.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
But still, $1.83 billion. That's in terms of U.S. budget. That's
chump change to us. You know,
that is chump change
to a country that hands out trillions to seems like everybody in the world. You know.
That's an add-on bill. That could have been added on this bill if we had passed it for the CARES Act and all that.
Yeah. So anyway, they're proving that they're real serious about keeping Huawei and ZTE out. Now, of course, it's not just the U.S. that's not using Huawei stuff. Japan, Australia, India, and I think a couple of other countries have done the same thing. So. Seems like a lot of countries don't trust, specifically Huawei. Sometimes ZTE is in there and sometimes not, but everybody seems like they don't want Huawei in there.
Well, I think that's mainly because the U.S. has been pressuring them, especially in terms of countries in NATO and especially England.
I think, they're trying to pressure England, but I think Japan did it before we did. And Australia, I don't know when they did it, but theirs isn't a new one either. And of course, India, you have to expect it since they seem very close to war.
It's personal for India.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next story.
Okay, I'm pulling it up now.
And this is also another good one.
Okay, I got the screen shared. So whenever you're ready, once you get it up, I'll read it. Okay, and this one is on cnet.com. Oh, almost forgot to mention, folks, if you want to, he has the stories linked in the description on YouTube, but you can also go to mobilegreaser.wordpress.com, and it's the first story there too, and you can click on any of the links and follow along. So, phones for low-income users hacked before they're turned on, research finds. This was an interesting story. Endless pop-up ads siphon off data paid for with federal subsidies in the Lifeline program, researchers found. Ramiz Anwar's phone has serious problems. The device paid for by the federally funded Lifeline program for low-income people was overrun with pop-up ads that made it unusable. Despite multiple factory resets, the problem wouldn't go away. As soon as it detected internet, Anwar said, it started doing the pop-ups. Anwar, who says he's tinkered with computers since childhood, suspected the phone had come with malware installed, so he sent it to Nathan Collier, a researcher at Malwarebytes. Collier confirmed Anwar's hunch. The phone settings and update apps contained code that allowed them to load malicious apps known as adware. The adware displayed ads that covered users' screens no matter what they were doing on their phones. Adware isn't a problem just for Anwar and other users who have the same phone model made by American Network Solutions. Because the phones in their service plans were subsidized by a U.S. program, taxpayers were funding the data that was used to display the promotional campaigns. On top of that, the adware prevented the phones doing their intended job, keeping low-income people connected to vital services via phone and internet. Evidence suggests pre-installed malware plagues inexpensive phones around the world. Earlier this year, Collier found pre-installed malware, a broad range of disruptive or dangerous apps on a phone made by Unimax and distributed by the Lifeline program. Collier says he frequently sees similar malware on cheap phones outside the Lifeline program, so it's not just the Lifeline program. A BuzzFeed investigation found inexpensive phones popular in African countries had similar problems. Unimax said in a statement in January that it had created a security patch to fix a vulnerability in its settings app. However, it disagreed with Malwarebytes that the vulnerability in the app qualified as malware. American Network Solutions couldn't be reached for comments. By making phones essentially unusual, adware puts low-income people at risk of being cut off from the world, which is especially troubling during the coronavirus pandemic. Well, that's a fact. Families are struggling to connect to the internet for their children's schooling. Low-income people, some facing homelessness, rely on their devices to stay connected to doctors who can't see them in person and apply for benefits. In California, about 14,000 people living alone in hotel rooms depend on phones to stave off loneliness after being evacuated from homeless shelters. Their way to connect to the world and the internet is through phones, Collier said. How the adware gets on phones. When looking at Anwar's phone, Collier found the Settings app and the Update app could covertly install third-party software on the user's phone. Users can't uninstall either app without making their devices unusable. Collier found a way to turn off the malicious code without completely uninstalling the apps, but it requires users to connect their phones to a laptop and run specialty software. For people in the Lifeline program, a laptop might not be available, and the instructions might be challenging for people without training. I can see that. Collier found the Update app was installing 4 different versions of adware, which may be why Anwar found the ads overwhelmed his device completely. In response to a request for comment, Anwar's carrier, Assurance Wireless, referred CNET to phone maker Unimax's statement in January. It also supplied a letter sent to U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut and Ron Wyden in response to questions the senators asked them about the Malwarebytes findings. In the letter, the company repeated Unimax's assertion that the code in the apps amounted to a security vulnerability and was not malware. Well, I disagree with that. It appears that Malwarebytes was incorrectly identifying legitimate functions as malware. The company said in the letter, legitimate functions that makes your phone stop being functional. That's unbelievable. Assurance Wireless didn't supply a specific response to the more recent findings about the phone made by American Network Solutions. Because the code Malwarebytes identified can let the settings and update apps surreptitiously load unwanted adware, the researchers have stood by their finding that the app contains malware. I agree completely.
Yep.
Government-funded phones. The Lifeline program is overseen by the FCC. The phone service providers typically either function as subsidiaries of big-name phone carriers or run their service through the big carriers' networks. Assurance Wireless is a division of T-Mobile. Collier said he doesn't know how the malicious code gets onto the phone because third parties could have access to the phone's software at various points in the manufacturing process. He added he has no way of knowing whether either phone maker or the carriers had any knowledge of the problems before Malwarebytes made its findings public. Budget phone makers typically use pre-made software from Android for apps that control settings and updates. It would be illegal for the phone manufacturer to tweak those apps to allow for the secret installation of adware because they would be making money from ad impressions and clicks made possible by Lifeline funds. It is federal law that Lifeline funds are prohibited from supporting the cost of the handset or any other end-user device or software, an FCC spokesperson said in a statement. The security of American cell phones is critical, and the FCC urges Lifeline providers to protect consumers from adware and malware. The agency declined to answer a question about whether it's investigating the Malwarebytes findings on either phone model. Why wouldn't they answer that? It seems to me you should be investigating.
Yeah.
Other ways for malware to slip in. It's entirely possible phone manufacturers aren't aware of the malicious capabilities of the phones before they go out to users. Instead, thin margins on the devices could lead phone makers to review the software on their phones less thoroughly than a name brand would, said Ken Hires, a mobile analyst at Strategic Analytics. Hires, who wasn't involved in Malwarebytes research, said he could only speculate about how malicious code got into the apps. A plausible place for it to happen, he said, would be what's called a software review house, a third-party service that reviews code for phone makers before it gets installed onto devices. Someone working in the review house could slip the malicious code into the apps, Hyatt said, unless they were compared line by line, but that's a tedious job. Unless they were compared line by line with the code sent out to the testing house, he said you wouldn't find it. I agree.
Is that so tedious?
Yes, that would be a very tedious job to compare it line by line, but I agree. And as a programmer myself, it's like there's no other way you're going to find it.
I thought, isn't there a way, like, in the shell where you can just, like, if you already know what the code is, just highlight all the code that you have and then just see what's left out?
But you're right. But you said the key phrase, if you already know what the code is. They do not know what the code is.
Their own code. They know their own code, and then they can filter. If you already know what code you have, then you can just do a filter.
If you could suck your code out, obviously what's left would be the suspicious code. But I still think line by line. But I did think of something else now. It came and went in my head already. But yeah, you're probably right. They should be able to subtract their code from it and see what's left, because that's where your problem is. But in any case.
There's a lot of ineptitude going on around here in this article.
I don't think it's ineptitude. I just think the whole process would be somewhat challenging. Anwar 37 said he works a low-wage job and lives with roommates in Virginia. He hasn't ordered a new device through the Lifeline program. Instead, he's using a phone he received as a gift, and the friend is paying monthly fees. Smart man. He hopes that donating his Lifeline phone to Malwarebytes will help bring attention to the problem for other Lifeline users. Nice guy. Phones aren't a luxury, he said. Everyone needs a phone to apply for jobs, call 911, contact doctors, and stay in touch with loved ones. Every single user of cell phones deserves the right to have unobstructed phone call and text message access. I agree. So I think, I don't know what other people think, but to me, since they're targeting people without much money, low income people, and I agree, they need to have their access. And I think if they find out who did this, they need to be put in prison. That's just my opinion.
Why isn't Ajay doing more?
Well, I find it funny that they would not answer whether or not they have an open investigation. Why not just say, yes, we're investigating? Because now, with these low-income people, you could have people's lives on the line. And
people's lives are on the line.
Yeah. So why not just do the investigation, find these people, put them in jail? That's what I'm thinking. Now, of course, if it's emanating from another country, since they said they had found some in African phones, then you got more of a problem. But either way, I think it's a pretty serious problem. That's a really good story that you found.
Yeah, sure is. But I think, that person has to sift through all the code. Like, I think, that's a quality assurance job.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be another, hours, man hours to pay for it, to have it done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The amount of man hours you're going to have to pay the person or persons who go through the code. And since these are smaller companies that probably don't have much money, they don't want to lay out, money for those man hours for that person's time. So I can understand it.
Yeah, but this is terrible.
Which is probably why they targeted those phones in the first place. Because a big company would have the money to just hire some people and get it taken care of.
Yeah. But even just ignoring the malware, the adware could be huge. Because I'm assuming they don't have unlimited internet, so if the ads is just soaking up. Imagine your ads just taking away what little data that you have.
Exactly. And I have in the past a couple of times gotten bad malware on my phone. A couple of last year or the year before, where I had to reboot a bunch of times to stop it from showing up. And I think Eleanor had one last year where it kept showing up too, and finally she got rid of it. I forgot how. So it doesn't, it happens to all of us, I guess, occasionally.
Never happened to me. Actually, it has happened. Funny story, actually. When I was in England, had this odd job where I worked with this guy. Oh my God, huge porn addict, on the job even. So one time, so mind you, it's a car wash, so it's not like they have HR. Right. But anyway, he did something with his phone, so he needed me to update it and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I tweaked it and updated it to improve the performance, but I screwed up. Okay. One thing I forgot to do was to untick install from unknown sources.
Oh boy.
So obviously he's going on these porn sites, he's just thumbing away. Yeah. And then it happened. He got the adware, which actually was more like malware. He got the ad app, so it popped up as soon as he turned on the phone, and he couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
Yeah. So in the end, I just had to, factory reset the phone,
and that got rid of it. So
and I got rid of it. But he had to start from ground zero. Everything was lost. But his phone felt new, but it was regrettable. I learned after that.
But obviously, the ones you had we found in the story here was worse than that, because they said factory resetting didn't help.
Yeah, which means it is baked into the apps.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't even know if ADB can help them.
So that does sound like it was probably put on somewhere in the manufacturing process.
Mm.
Yeah. Interesting. I hope they catch these people. Let me welcome in Big House is in here, and Crystal is in here.
Hey, Big House. Hey, Crystal. Welcome.
Welcome, and glad you guys joined. All right, and the next story, which I've got, another interesting story you found. All right, I'm sharing it now. I'll read this one, I guess. Whenever you're ready. Oh, I did, didn't Yeah, I did it. So it's your turn. Sorry about that.
Unless-
Hey, I'm an old man. Deal with it.
Oh my gosh! Next thing you know, you'll be forgetting you had breakfast.
Exactly. Let me see if I can. Oh no, you're in charge. I was going to try to make the picture bigger, but it's on your channel, so only you could do that.
Oh, how do I do that? Oh, I get it. I remember now. Boom, like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's full screen, guys. What you're looking at is the world's first 3,200 megapixel sensor. Look at that, guys.
Yeah, this is on Engadget.com. And don't forget, folks, you can go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com and you can click on any of the links to the stories. All right, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it's a working sensor, and it even took a photo.
Cool.
So yeah, story by Anne Smoshla.
That's a tough one for me.
I'll just call it SMA. Stanford researchers have taken a 3,200 megapixel photo, the largest ever using sensors that will be part of the world's largest digital camera, according to an SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory blog post. I'm curious, what's the megapixel size of that file?
Oh, I think they tell us as we go down, I think, in the story.
The camera will be installed in the university's Legacy Survey of Space and Time telescope in Chile. That's a grand name. Which will study dark energy, dark matter, and create the largest astronomical movie of all time. Yeah. So it's sort of like, when James Cameron went to the bottom of the ocean, that's what they're going to do in Chile.
Yeah.
The photos are so large, in fact, that it will take 378 4K ultra high definition TV screens to display one of them in full size.
That is amazing. I mean, just to think about that, that's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I just actually understood the enormity.
Yeah.
To see one photo, you would need 378 4K TVs.
Ultra high definition TVs. Wow.
You can also see small dim objects other cameras can't capture. The resolution is so high that you could see a golf ball from 15 miles away, and the sensors can spot objects 100 million times dimmer than visible with the naked eye. Wow.
It's hard to even imagine.
So it's better. It has better dynamic range than the human eye. That's what's up.
A lot better. 100 million times better.
I mean, we can't get that with cameras now, like consumer cameras now, but this one can. Whew. Yeah. This staggering performance is made possible through 189 sensors known as charge-coupled devices that each measure 16 megapixels. The CCDs are packaged into units called rafts, which make up the camera's focal plane. There are 21 rafts plus 4 specialty rafts not used for imaging. Although the focal plane contains 3.2 billion pixels, each of the rafts, worth up to $3 million apiece, were inserted into a grid for the focal plane over 6 nerve-wracking months. Thankfully, the 3,200 pixel images are the result of the sensors passing an important first test. While some higher stakes phases of the project are behind them, the team still has the challenging work to do in building the rest of the camera, like the shutter button.
Yeah. And who's going to push it? The Hulk?
Final testing expected to start mid-2021.
It's amazing. And the fact that they say an important first test and still has challenge, how much more work has to be done and how much more money has to go into it. That is amazing. To see a golf ball from 15 miles away.
I mean, this reminded me of, I wish I could cast, I don't know where I can find it now, but let me remove this. I'm going to see if I can find it. This was a satellite picture in China.
Okay.
And the details this thing was captured, a satellite from space, was amazing. I can't find it. Satellite research.
Whatever detail it caught, this one would catch more. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. Satellite picture China sample. No.
No.
No. I won't be able to find it.
Okay.
But yeah, it was actually pretty huge. Like the detail was incredible in terms of how much I could zoom in and how far I could see in the horizon. And this was from space. So yeah.
Heavy duty.
That's what
camera technology is just incredible as it goes on, really.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it'll ever come down to us consumers?
3200 megapixel? I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got up into the hundreds megapixels.
We have hundreds.
I meant 2, 3, 4, 500s.
Oh.
But there was a story this week. The guy that left Google, the guy who basically invented the Pixel cameras.
Yeah,
he is not a fan of all these high megapixel pictures. He thinks it should all be done in software.
Yeah, I saw that. It was his interview with The Verge.
Yeah, and
I'd expect him to say that.
But he may have a point because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. What camera takes better pictures than the Pixel? Well,
the Huawei.
Maybe not, or maybe just the Huawei, and that's all.
But the Huawei is better because it has better hardware. So.
Oh, and right this minute, Huawei is still the #1 phone manufacturer in the world. They're still above Samsung and Apple. How much longer? How much longer that's going to last?
For Q2, they overtook Huawei, but I think the Samsung overtook them.
I heard on, who was I listening? I was listening to Lou from Unbox Therapy, and he said, and I think of the story he was reading, it still said they're still the #1. But even if they are, they're probably not going to last much longer as long as they can't get access to Google.
It's not even that now. Like, no one can sell them chips besides MediaTek. Right?
Yeah.
The worst. Like bottom barrel. Of course,
Yeah, so MediaTek is the one company that doesn't use any American parts, that says to me, right?
Yeah. Of course, that means that's probably good for MediaTek because Huawei will probably just throw money at them.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, and MediaTek is starting to come up in reputation. So I gather their sensors on cameras are getting better and better. So
no, they're not.
I said I gather. Now you notice I've never bought a phone with a MediaTek processor ever because I don't. I've never trusted MediaTek.
You could have got one for free.
I keep hearing they're getting better.
You could have got one for free if you had joined that beta test I invited you on.
Oh, okay.
You don't even remember. It was that hot pepper phone I was talking with.
I remember, but I don't do well in beta. Remember, I was in 2 betas with ZTE, and I had a hard time trying to keep up with the things they wanted us to do because I was busy. So I kind of learned stay away from being a beta tester. For me.
Hold on, Nigel's got a question for you.
Yeah, I see the question. Yeah, Nigel. Yes, I pre-ordered it on August 12th. I gather Jay Will got his today. Mine, it's not showing that it shipped. Oh, it still says it's pre-ordered. So when it shows up, it shows up. But I'm just waiting for it. So.
Did you get the Surface Pen for that, by the way? That looks kind of cute.
You mean this?
Yeah, he got it. I saw that on what's his name, Captain Two Phones.
Oh,
Mr. Mobile.
Michael Fisher. Michael Fisher. You went all the way back to Captain Two Phones. He hasn't been called that in a while.
Apparently, the pen sticks to the phone, and apparently it's an accident because they never advertised it could do that.
Well, on Flossie's unboxing today, he showed it couldn't stick to the front, it couldn't stick to the side, but it will stick in the back. So, and he said it's a very strong magnet. So I don't think that's an accident. They just didn't advertise it for some reason.
It was an accident. They didn't want people to get to the habit of sticking it on the wrong side, like,
Well, Flossie did say he thought they should have put the magnet in front so that you'd see the logo, because in the back there is no logo. So.
See, that's why it was an accident.
I still don't think it was an accident, but we agree to disagree.
A guy from Jamaica State has better better branding acuity than these guys in Surface. Come on, it was an accident. They're like, oh yeah.
How could you put a magnet that strong and it be I'm sorry, I'm not buying that.
It was like when the Pixel team, when they put out the Pixel stand, and I don't think they intended for the Pixel stand to charge the Pixel buds.
Right.
But then they were like, they saw the picture, like, hey, put it upside down, and it'll charge it. That was an accident. They were not thinking about.
I could see that being an accident. But in any case, so at least I know it will stick. But I'll be taking good care of it in any case. All right, next story. Let's see, let me go share the screen. Okay, I'm ready whenever you're ready. And this one is on GSM Arena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it all began. ZTE.
Yep.
In the news for positive reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so for those who don't know, ZTE has come out with the first production phone to have an under-display camera. So the camera is underneath the display, the selfie camera.
So you can't see it.
Supposedly you can't see it. According to this article, if you try hard enough, you probably can. But let me get to the article. Macro shot shows the screen above ZTE Axon 20's under-display camera. When ZTE talked about the Axon 20 and how its selfie camera works, it skipped over a few important details. This is the first production phone to have an under-display camera, in case you missed that. The first hands-on images offer a better look at what goes on behind the curtain. There's a small square area over the selfie camera, which has a lower pixel density, similar to that of a 720p display instead of 1080p, like the rest of the panel. So I guess this is the picture here, and that's that area. So I guess this area is somewhere right below here. It also changes up the sub-pixel arrangement to make it easier for the camera to see through. The end result is not quite perfect, as you can see, where the square is on a flat background. This area usually shows an empty part of the status bar, so it's hardly noticeable. See, it says most of the time. Also, a busier background will likely make the square blend in more successfully. Leakster Digital Chat Station promises to post more details on what the Axon 20 display is like in person. For now, the leaker says that the square area has a separate display driver to make it work. That kind of makes sense. So under here, I guess there's a separate display driver. So anyways, I just wish you had put a picture or drawn something here to show us exactly where this square is in relation to here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, that's interesting. And it's interesting that they have to drop it down to more like 720p in order for it to be able to see through the screen like that. So another interesting story you found.
Yeah, because with 720p, then the pixels get bigger. Whereas if it was a higher,
the pixels would get smaller.
It's smaller.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
And I actually just read a story today. Congratulations, ETE. Axon 20. What's it called again?
Axon 20.
S. It's sold out in China.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People were interested. Good for them. Camera's still going to be crap, though.
Well, let's hope not for them, but we'll see.
There's yet to be an Axon camera that is passable.
Well, the Axon 7's camera was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay for 2016. Yes, I will give it the Axon 7.
Especially the selfie camera, I thought.
Oh, well, I never use a selfie camera.
Well, I think the selfie camera was better than the rear camera. That was my point.
Oh, what I liked most actually was the manual mode app of the Axon 7 and It also took very good video quality as well.
Okay. Yeah, it did have good video quality. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Axon 7 is the reason why I'm the photographer I am today, because of the Axon
Oh, okay.
7.
Very good.
Yeah. But then they switched up the camera UI after the Android M updates. I was like, let me go on to
Yeah.
something else. And someone says the Axon 10 cam is great. No,
Okay.
it's not. The main camera is okay. But
No, well, no,
it's not.
I think the Axon said, well, he's saying he saw my video about the samples from it. And the main camera I thought was pretty good. The problem is no stabilization. But of course, you have to use the Google photo stabilization. But everybody loved the video and stuff I took from that. So I thought the video from the Axon 10 was very, very good. Yeah.
Maybe it was. I don't know. I was just really bitten the fact that I couldn't do 24 frames a second no matter what I did.
Okay. Okay.
And I just didn't like the camera UI as well. And the thing with using the photos, Google Photos, to stabilize it is that it was inconsistent. It was inconsistent. Sometimes it'll be jello.
Oh, I never found that. Every time I ran the stabilization.
It happens sometimes in your video, George. You just don't remember.
No, I probably don't. But it took a long time to do it.
Yeah, because it was using your data and internet. But sometimes, even though if you wait it, sometimes it'll just be all warbly and stuff.
Now that you mention it, yeah, I do remember. It is every once in a while. You're right. Okay. But anyway, for a budget phone, well, semi-budget, it was pretty good, I thought.
And the Axon M. Why was that camera bad?
That camera, I still have it sitting. I still have both of them. But yeah, that camera was not great.
I was expecting big things. I was thinking, rear-facing camera that you could use for the front as well.
Yep, exactly.
But nope, I was just like, oh boy.
And I'm about to have that same situation with the Duo rear camera that you use for the front as well. And of course, they're already saying, well, it's not a great camera. Now, MKBHD said it's just plain trash, and others said it was kind of okay. So we'll see.
I don't know. For $1,400, can you be okay with an okay? Well, I suppose that's why you buy the price.
And that's all the stuff I'm seeing today from people's reviews is that it's buggy software-wise, and for $1,400, and they all saying that it shouldn't be. But one article did say this is just like when the Fold 1 first came out, except the Fold 1 had more issues because it would just break apart on you. At least the Duo wasn't breaking apart on anybody.
This reminds me of the Essential. The Essential had buggy. Well, no, it was the camera app.
The camera app was terrible in the beginning.
It was terrible.
But you got to give them credit. They kept putting out updates until it kept getting better and better and better. It never got great, but they kept making it better, and they didn't quit.
But they never. I don't think they ever did. Recover from that. They had they had to bring their phone down to $400.
But I think what brought the company down was Ruben's reputation getting out as much as it did. That's what I think brought the company. Because I know for myself, after everything we found out about him, I would never buy another product that he had anything to do with. I guarantee you that. Okay, next story. Sharing the screen now.
Oh, I don't remember what this story was. It's because I use Bitly to shorten it. So
I was going to say, you're the one who picked the stories. Yeah, this is the Amazon, Apple, and Google's open source home standard.
Right. Okay.
Okay, you're reading this.
Yes. Amazon, Apple, and Google's open source smart home standards is on track for a 2021 launch. The latest update on Project Connected Home over IP. Was that intellectual property? Was that?
Yeah, I had never heard of Project Connected Home over IP before.
The ambitious attempt to bring together Amazon, Apple, Google, and the Zigbee Alliance with a unified open source smart home platform has posted its latest project Update on the project. The group has announced in the first major update since the standard was revealed that the work on the project is still ongoing, and it's targeting a 2021 release, along with the first clear idea of what devices the standard is aiming to work with. The project is on track to provide a draft specification for the new standard by the end of the year, with a full launch of set for 2021, according to the blog post shared by the Zigbee Alliance, a group that includes IKEA, Samsung SmartThings, and Signify Philips Hue as board members. Additionally, the announcement clarifies what sort of home devices the project Connected Home over IP is aiming to work with. If the number of companies being brought together wasn't ambitious enough, the list of devices categories is a lengthy one. Lighting and electrical, which includes light bulbs, luminaires, controls, plugs, outlets, HVAC controls, which includes thermostats and AC units, access controls such as door locks and garage doors, safety and security like sensors, detectors, security systems, windows coverings and shades, TVs, access point bridges, and others. In short, that's nearly every type of major smart home device. I don't see
except for speakers, of course.
Yeah, or fridges or stoves.
Yeah, which I find very strange that speakers being the biggest selling smart home device that there is, but.
And it's what's been causing the pain point between Amazon and Google.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
The group is already exploring the integration of additional consumer electronic products, so maybe speakers to come.
Exactly.
Of course, soon Sonos could be, it's very interesting. Sonos is not mentioned in this at all in the alliance.
Right.
Project Connected Home over IP was announced in December 2019 as a unified standard that would make it easier for the device manufacturers to create smart home hardware. The goal is that future devices will be able to easily add support for all three major voice assistants, Amazon's Alexa's, Apple's Siri, and Google Assistants at once. In turn, it will make it easier to set up and configure smart home devices with your system of choice. I'm surprised Apple is playing ball, and again, I find it kind of suspicious that Sonos isn't in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't find it funny that Apple is playing ball only because
they suck.
Because of the three assistants, who's the worst one by far? Well, Siri. So I think it can only benefit them if they all get together, for one that will work on all three, or that will make all three work and make it easier to install them. So I think it can only benefit Apple. That's my guess.
Yeah, it can only benefit Apple in terms of they get data, like from the users or something.
That's probably true. Yeah, and that's probably true of all three of them. They're all going to end up getting more user data from everybody, which is what the game is always about. And that's what I was thinking when I started reading the story. It's like, isn't this going to cause some privacy concerns for people? I would think automatically it would. Wouldn't you think so?
Yeah.
Because I would think people are going to think, okay, now all three of them are going to spy on me together.
Because let's say you're trying to avoid an Amazon or Alexa out of your house, but so you just go with Google because you already use Gmail.
Right.
But your speaker already has Alexa. Does that mean like they work simultaneously? So what if Alexa thinks you called it?
Yeah, I would think that they're all going to have some kind of access that they didn't have before to some of your data. It's my guess. So it's in that way, it probably would benefit all of them.
But still, Apple is supporting open source, so
that's true. Which is
that's
pretty amazing in itself. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, what does Apple HomeKit even do? Like, what's that app even for?
I've never used HomeKit, but isn't HomeKit? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't HomeKit somewhat of a flop, or am I wrong?
I don't even know. That's the thing.
Okay. I guess that kind of says it all. That neither one of us know. Now,
how about you guys in the comments? Do you guys know anything about Apple's HomeKit? Who uses it?
Yeah, right. And Max is saying it would be amazing to have a smart home ecosystem that works even with different brands. For example, you could use your iPhone to control a Google Home. Yeah. But again, that means they're all going to have more access to more of our data.
I'm trying to wait to share.
Yeah, I didn't do it yet.
Big
House and Max were talking about the Duo, and Big House was saying for $1,400, that thing needs to be almost flawless. And trust me, if you look at videos, Big House, it's not flawless. I gather the hardware is wonderful, and they have a certain amount of software issues. But we'll see. When mine shows up, I'll certainly be showing you guys.
Is the hardware wonderful? How is the speakers on it? Because I've never saw the speakers.
There's only one speaker, and it's up top, not on the bottom. It's coming out of the earpiece speaker. But according to Flossie, that speaker's pretty loud. He did play it, and that speaker sounds pretty loud. So if I'm only going to have one speaker, and I can have a pretty loud speaker, I'd rather have it up top.
Okay.
Seems like the speaker is probably not much of a big deal.
The one benefit, though, I see is that it can actually do simultaneous app. It can run at two apps really at the same time. So
exactly, yeah, completely independent of each other, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, they had to work with Google for special programming just for that device to get it to work. But I gather that works extremely well.
What is that man's name? Colonel Singala.
Who's that?
Gamers something. I don't know. He does his alter ego is called Colonel Singala, but he reviews phones from a gaming aspect, and he was able to play 2 games simultaneously at the same time.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So theoretically, like how the Axons M's could do 10 modes so that each person has their own screen.
Yeah.
You could play, 2 games at the same time. If you have 2 controllers, just start playing along. And what I am interested is if it can have 2 Bluetooth devices at the same time. Yeah. Like what's it called? Like the TCL 10 Pro? Yeah. Or the Axon? Yeah, or like the Axon M.
Yeah. Now, of course, playing 2 games at the same time is pretty cool if you have the mental acuity to play 2 games at the same time. I don't think I could do it.
I mean, no, but I'm saying if you have it in tent mode, like how the Axon M advertised, like
2 people play on one side and 1 person could play on the
other.
That's true. I was thinking of 1 person playing 2 games at the same time. There's probably people that could. Yeah, Big House is saying Floss was about to throw it through a wall before he found out how to swipe from Zach. Yeah, but he did say that was his own fault, and he did say it's the user's stupidity. So I got to give Floss. He was laughing at himself, So,
but that wouldn't have happened. Like I have to wonder though. People say that you have to have bezels that big so you know where to hold the device. But if a phone has 2 displays, you don't need bezel to hold the phone. Like,
well,
I mean, maybe. I mean,
it seems to me the top bezel is very, very large, but I guess
both the bezels are large.
Yeah, I just seem to me at least the top bezel is the one that stuck out to me. Now, I thought I've seen 4 or 5 reviews of the Duo so far, and I think Flossie's unboxing to me was the best one I've seen. So.
I don't know. People have been advocating that there should be some bezel so you know where to hold the device. But I'm saying for a foldable phone or a phone with 2 screens, you don't need that bezel because
unless you're
more real estate to hold.
Unless you're folding back 1 screen and just using 1 screen.
But when you fold it back, the phone it's still thick. Well, maybe the Duo is an exception because it's not so thick.
The Duo is definitely not thick, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you have more width to hold it.
Yeah,
when you fold it.
Yeah, that is true. But they had said something about why they needed the big bezel, and I can't remember what it was weeks ago.
Maybe he needs to read those books before he tosses it to the side. Nobody. When was the last time you even saw those books in the phone? Do they actually put them in the? Do they still put those in the phone cases, the boxes, the instruction manual, how to get started?
Yeah. Well, you know what Flossie does with them.
Yeah.
So, well, pretty much we all do the same thing with them. So
file them to the side.
Big House may be right. This may be a device that we actually should read some of the manuals. It may pay, and I may end up doing that when I end up getting mine.
Samsung doesn't even give you a chance. They put the manual right there on the screen, like before you peel it off.
I like it when they included that as that you can open it up in software on the phone.
Like Samsung makes it idiot proof.
Yep. All right, I've got the next one shared. Is this one you or me?
And this one is you.
Okay. All right. We're going to finish early tonight, obviously. This is on The Verge again. Apple, this I thought was really interesting, and I thought a very smart move from Apple, in my opinion. Apple will seek damages from Epic Games for breach of App Store contract, a new front in the ongoing Fortnite fight. Apple will seek damages against Epic Games for allegedly breaching its contract with the iOS App Store, which is exactly what they did, in a new escalation of the two companies' ongoing legal fight. The move came in a filing entered on Tuesday alongside counterclaims for unjust enrichment and torturous interference with Apple's relationship with its customers. Now that I thought was going a bit far. Torturous interference with Apple's Tortious, sorry. I thought that was going quite a bit too far. Don't you think so?
No, it's tortious. It's when you sue someone for their not thinking things through.
Well,
not because they broke a law.
Obviously, Epic thought this through quite well, don't you think?
Yeah.
And well, unjust enrichment, I guess they can kind of make that stick because that's why Epic did this in the first place. They want more money. So Epic's flagrant disregard for its contractual commitments and other misconduct has caused significant harm to Apple, the filing reads. Left unchecked, Epic's conduct threatens the very existence of the iOS ecosystem and its tremendous value to consumers.
It means wrongful. I'm sorry. Tortious means wrongful.
Okay. Now they're saying it's threatening the very existence of iOS. I highly doubt that.
The existence of iOS to make Apple money.
Yeah, that's a bit much for me to swallow. Epic Games sued Apple in August after the company's hit game Fortnite was removed from the iOS App Store over the implementation of an unauthorized payment system. The complaint filed August 13th alleges that Apple is violating antitrust law, using its total control over iOS to extract commission for all software that passes through the App Store. Apple's filing comes in response to an exhaustive motion for a preliminary injunction filed by Epic over the weekend. Tuesday's filing lays out a range of defenses against that motion. Among other claims, Apple maintains there were legitimate business justifications for all of the actions it undertook, which would undercut a broader antitrust claim. At all times, Apple's conduct was reasonable and its actions were undertaken in good faith to advance legitimate business interests and had the effect of promoting, encouraging, and increasing competition, the complaint reads. Really? Okay. Apple declined to comment beyond the filing. A recent ruling on a temporary restraining order made it unlikely Fortnite will return to the iOS App Store in the immediate future. The same ruling enjoined Apple from taking additional action against another developer account used by Epic to support the Unreal Engine. Epic's reply to Apple's filing is due by September 18th, ahead of a full hearing on September 28th. So I guess that's the court documents.
Yep.
What was I going to say something about what I read? So I agree. Even what's his name from Pocket Now? Even he agreed that that was breach of contract by Epic. But what I was thinking was if the government sees them as an antitrust case, then I think that's gonna make Epic and everybody else win automatically.
Mm,
You know?
that is true.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting case, but I still think this was a very smart move on Apple because breach of contract is exactly what Epic did, and they did it on purpose. You know.
Let's see. An update to this story is Epic says sign-in with Apple will keep working for Fortnite after all. Yesterday, Epic said Apple was removing the ability to use sign-in with Apple for Epic accounts, which was not true.
Okay. So interesting. This thing is going to go on for a while, I would guess. Although my impression is that Epic wants other companies, especially big companies, to join them in their legal fight. That's my impression, and nobody has done that yet.
Like
right?
a class action? You mean like a class action suit?
Well, or maybe just 2 or 3 other companies. You know, could you?
Because they already have their own. Like Spotify already has their own suit, and Sonos has their already. Well, no, Sonos is a hardware case entirely, but.
Yeah, I just have the impression that Epic wanted other companies to jump on board with them as part of it. And so far, nobody's done that.
Nope. And what's funny is that I'm surprised Fortnite has survived, India just banning things left and right because Fortnite is partly 40% of, I think, Fortnite or Epic is owned by Tencent, which is a Chinese company.
And India doesn't want any part of Tencent.
Yeah, that's why India banned PUBG.
Yeah, exactly. And what is it, like 80 other apps?
So I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I think once India is wise to that,
well, I think we all need to pray that India and China just don't end up in a war because it's pretty hostile over there. At that border area anyway. Because China wants to take over more territory, and India's saying you're not taking our territory.
Yeah. Nope.
But it was the Indian soldiers who got killed a few months ago, right? Not the Chinese soldiers at the border.
No, it was both of them. They were fighting on a cliff.
I thought it was only Indian soldiers that died, or I guess I could be remembering it wrong.
You're thinking of 300, I think, where it was the Persians that got kicked off the cliff. The Persians and the Indians.
I actually never saw that.
Oh, that's a surprise. Great movie. I feel like watching it now.
While I'm here, since that was our last story, let me do one more share screen, and if you don't mind, let's show on screen, just so.
Yeah. What is that?
Okay, just wanted to let you folks know. So if you, for every Friday night from now on, if you go to mobilekeys.wordpress.com, this is my website. And the first thing you'll see is the show notes for that particular day. If you just click on it, it'll take you directly there. Don't be making faces at us. Anyway, just wanted to let you folks know that it's pretty easy to go, and then you can click on any of the stories in there.
What else are the? What else? Oh, T-Wavy took it down.
Oh,
you got any other web pages on your site?
You mean any other stories? No, I only have the
pages.
One. No, I only have the one. I only have. What's causing that? That's not happening here. That's only happening on. That's only happening on StreamYard. I'm thinking it must be you. Let me kill it.
There's something on the bottom. Stop talking. Stop. Oh no, that's yours.
Okay, it's not happening on my computer at all. Anyway, so you can see last week's show notes, the week before. That.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's the last story that I wrote, which I need to write another one pretty soon. Anyway, just wanted to let you folks see that it's pretty easy to get the show notes and click on the stories with us.
What was that story?
Oh, it was called Dual Screens, What's the End Game? And I was using the example of the LG G8X, the Duo, the Samsung and Moto and everybody that basically has a dual screen phone. And, and I just said, what's the end game? Because nobody seems to be pushing it. They just a few of them keep coming out with the phone. Now, I heard a story today that Apple is coming out with a foldable phone, and they're thinking soon. That's what somebody had a video. Oh, I think it was on Lou from Unbox Area on one of his Lou Later shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, that's been a rumor for a long time, but it's beginning to sound like that we're not going to be too far from seeing a foldable Apple phone. No. What they're saying is more likely a foldable iPad first. That's what they're saying.
Do I need a foldable iPad?
Exactly. I was going to say, you should buy me one.
I mean, I did get the 11-inch so that it would be portable, a more portable one.
That's why I got the 11-inch.
I don't know. Maybe I would like that. I mean, but yeah, like Juan Bagnell's talking about, he doesn't see, what problem folding fold solves, but I don't think there has to be a problem. It's just just a feature they give. A feature.
And this is why I think Microsoft, in my opinion, might have the smartest strategy of any of them that are making, because they're pushing it as almost totally, a productivity device.
A business orientation device.
Right. And that's where the guy that did the article last week about, is this the new BlackBerry? Well, I think that's a pretty good argument, and I think it's a better argument than anybody else making a foldable device. That's my guess.
Yeah, Tech Odyssey. Yeah, I saw that video. He did his Surface unboxing on a plane, like on the two small on the two pilot planes while he's in the air.
Right.
He did his unboxing on the Surface phone.
Okay.
Nah, that's what that is. I think if we follow that,
yesterday somebody did an unboxing of the Surface, a girl from one of the big websites, and she did all the video within the phone. So while you were watching it, whenever she was talking, you were seeing her on the screens of the phone. It was very cool, I thought.
No, that does sound cool.
That was very well done.
But I've been noticing a trend for people trying to like jazzercise their unboxings. First was the ASMR unboxings, and now is the open up your unboxing a phone like 10,000 feet above the air. Next thing you know, we're gonna have unboxing like these gender reveal parties where something explodes and then causes a fire.
Yeah, but the obvious next step is get with Elon Musk and do an unboxing from space. That would be the way to go if you're going in that direction.
But well, final story, or watch. This is the plug of the day, folks.
Okay, yeah, I don't have another story.
Let me share.
Okay.
My screen. Today's plug is the Glowing Rectangle subreddit.
Okay.
A place to talk about all the best tech toys. Boom. Subreddit that this subreddit was created by, what's his name again? Juan Bagnell?
Yeah.
Some gadget guy. And the reason why he created this subreddit was because you couldn't really trust the YouTube algorithm to bring you a nice varied or variety of tech channels.
Right.
I think this, what's his name? Arun of what's that Indian guy's name from England? The English guy.
Mr. Who's the Boss?
Thank you, him. He put out a tweet, like it took him like 7 or 4 years to get up to 1 million subscribers, and then 2 years to get up to like 3 million. the reason for that is, the algorithm kept feeding him, kept, putting viewers in front of his path after he got to 1 million.
Right.
But otherwise, like the road to even like 100,000 is kind of long and hard. So.
Oh yeah, it's long. I can definitely tell you this. I'm still working on getting to 3,600.
So, Juan Bagnell created a subreddit. So for those, so I would actually recommend those who, if you want to see something more grassroots, more organic, that's more varied, and not just rely on YouTube's algorithm to give you tech stories or tech channels. Here is the Glowing Rectangle subreddit. So
it's pretty good. I've heard Juan talking about it, and I haven't even had a chance to go. I did see Erica Griffin had put out her video today, and I didn't get a chance to watch it yet on the Duo.
Mm-hmm. So top story is actually from yesterday. Some gadget guy and the guys from Across the Pondcast were doing a live unboxing of the Surface Board.
I watched part of that.
And then the next story up there is, I don't know, who's this by? The Brown Kid 86? Where he's comparing the Pixel 4a against the Pixel 4. Right. I mean, spoiler alert, the Pixel 4 is better. Bored at Work, that's his name.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He compares the Surface Duo against the Galaxy Z Fold 2. I'm going to go watch that later.
Yeah, I always forget his first real name. Because he's on the Pocket Now podcast every once in a while. I'd say every 4 or 5 weeks he's on the Pocket Now podcast.
That's the one that what's his name? Joshua Vergara. I don't know why I'm doing horrible with names today.
Joshua Vergara, yeah.
Joshua Vergara. That's when he hosts for them.
Yes, he's the host of that. Yeah, and they're good. Okay. They're good buddies, and he's good buddies with the Juan Bagnell too, for that matter.
Yeah. But yeah, that's who I was calling Colonel Singala. That's his alter ego for the channel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he puts on was it East African or West African accent with
he's from
Colonel Cap. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
but he should be able to do that accent.
Currently, everyone is talking about $1.66 per meal challenge. Can you do that? Can you do that living on $1.60? I guess you can.
Probably could. I wouldn't want to, but yeah, you probably could.
I mean, in my mind, at first, I was thinking about doing that by finding a meal for $1.66. But what she's probably suggesting is you buy a meal that's actually for the week, like what's it, like $10, and try to live off $10 a week.
Which you probably could,
But yeah, that's the Glowing Rectangle subreddit. I encourage you guys to join.
And I can say, like probably Ted would say too, anything Juan Bagnell does, it's probably going to be done very well. It's probably going to be thought-provoking, and he always tries to encourage others and somewhat lift up others. So.
Well, it's as big as to saying, no way, you can't live off $10 a day. If you can't, then how is it that those people are just saying, for $1, you can feed 10 kids in Africa? How is it they're able to do that if they say, no way, Big House?
Yeah, because I would disagree with you. I think it probably can be done. I wouldn't want to be the one to do it because I'm the typical spoiled brat, but I think it could probably be done.
What did you have for lunch at your enterprise job? What do you pack for lunch?
I just make a sandwich, and that's what I bring for lunch. I usually have one sandwich, and I take a bag of pretzels, and I eat sandwich and pretzels. That's my lunch. I'm not a big eater as far as I've gotten older. I get full very quickly, and the bad part about going to dinner with me, as Eleanor can tell you, is I always tell waitresses I am the world's slowest eater. I always have been. Now, of course, they say slow eating is healthier for you. Maybe that's one reason I'm so healthy. I have never known anybody to eat as slow as I do. It's just how I naturally am.
And that is it, folks.
We have run out. Okay. So we're going to have an early night, but I thought Ted picked some very interesting stories and found some interesting stories that I doubt that I would have found. Big House is saying, yeah, I could do it. Lots of ramen noodle dishes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Just living off ramen noodles. Oh, and eggs. Ramen noodles and eggs.
Oh, I guess this is my cue to say exactly. Okay. I probably watched too many old Batman episodes with Egghead in them.
By the way, George, how's your LG phone doing?
It's doing fine. It's over there behind me, but yeah, right now the two I'm using for my DDs are the Pixel 4a and the Galaxy S20, and this is the first time I got the Pixel 4a, and I normally would have bumped the Galaxy S20 as my second and made it the LG G8, but I couldn't give up the S20, not until I get the Duo. When I get the Duo, then the Pixel will be my secondary phone and the Duo. But I always carry two phones with me, and I always have
Just get rid of that. Just get rid of that S20. Why do you have it around? What's so good about it?
I love it. It takes great pictures, for one thing. And
so is the Pixel. What is that?
And it's the only 5G phone that I own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Let's see. With actually, what I do like about Samsung, which I kind of miss, I actually used this for the first time 2 days ago. I plugged this in desktop mode. You know, like how Samsung has Dex.
Oh, you mean Dex? Yeah, I've never used Dex, and I know other people swear by it. So you really liked it.
Well, no, I tried it with LG. LG has that same thing. I mean, it's no Dex.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's no Dex at all. Actually, it's terrible. But that's where I was like, okay, I wish I had Dex or Samsung phone I could just plug into, because I was trying to do some video editing on the LG phone, and I usually I have two screens, but the apps wasn't really working, and it wasn't really a pleasurable experience. You can't get any notifications on the thing.
Could it have been the editor app that you were using?
I was using Power Director. That wasn't working so well. And then Adobe Rush is just not compatible with
Yeah, somebody else. What's
desktop mode? It's not compatible with it. You can't even open it up in full screen.
Right.
And it's actually technically that is supposed to be on LG phones. Samsung made it exclusive to them.
Why don't you try the Filmora app? Because that one I have heard works well. I have it on my phone. I haven't even used it, but that one supposedly works well. Now at home, until I get up to speed on my iPad Pro, I use mainly on the computer. I use Filmora and I use Adobe Premiere Elements. But I've heard that the Filmora app for the phone works very well. So
you haven't tried out LumaFusion yet, huh?
I have LumaFusion on. Yeah, I started learning it, but there's a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, there is, honestly. Yeah. What are you using? Are you using their YouTube tutorial apps?
Yes, that's what I started going through. I just haven't had much time.
Yeah, they just started putting it out this year.
Oh, okay, that's great. Because I find the guy explains things extremely well.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to do what he says while I'm watching him and I'm doing it, but I'm only in the third or fourth video so far. So, but yeah, it's a learning process. But I'll learn it and then I'll be good to go. Thanks to you. And Jay Will told me the same one you and I have is the same one he does all his editing on. That made me feel good too, knowing that both of you use it.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually the clear-cut winner.
Yeah.
In terms of it, people talk about bringing Final Cut Pro to the iPad Pro, and it can handle it. It's just I don't know what happened to LumaFusion then, because
okay, yeah,
that'll be the end of LumaFusion, because Final Cut Pro has some great. The title on Final Cut Pro are very nice.
Yeah, I've never used Final Cut. So. Anyway, so.
That's our show, folks.
Yep.
Let me see who stuck to the end.
Big House was
Big House.
As far as I can tell, Big House. Now, of course, they could all still be here, and we may not know it unless they type something into the comments, of course.
Let's see. Thank you for coming, Big House. Max, thank you. Mrs. Hayes. And, Crystal. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And Nigel. Thank you all for coming. Hope you had a good...
Always thank Nigel. And now, of course, I'm going to be worried because 6 wasn't in here. This is the first time I can remember 6 not being in here. So let's hope everything is good with him.
Oh, thoughts out to you. To you, 6.
Yep. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. Next week we'll be back on the Mobile Geezer channel, and then of course you can watch on YouTube or either one of my Facebooks. So.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll have a Surface Duo by then.
I hope so. We'll see. I'm just waiting now. So.
All right, folks.
All right, folks. Thanks for coming by, and everybody have a wonderful and blessed weekend.
Have a good weekend.